Welcome back. Coronavirus travel bans are wreaking havoc for businesses, particularly those with strong ties to China and across Asia. Well, that in turn is putting the pressure on travel booking agencies trying to secure business trips amid the evolving crisis. Well, TravelPerk handles bookings for some of Europe's largest companies. It's built its brand on cutting booking time and offering seamless travel. Meir is the company's founder and CEO, and he joins me now. Avi, welcome to you. So what sort of impact have you seen so far?
Yes, so of course, as you can expect, we are based in Barcelona, the headquarters are, and the Mobile World Congress was announced cancelled for next week. We have seen some impact, around 10% cancellation, and increased in refunds that in rebooking that we have to handle. Overall, our business is mostly based in Europe and North America, so we have seen pretty mitigated impact, although of course China and Hong Kong travel has been almost zero.
Do you worry that this outbreak might lead to a permanent shift in behaviour? I mean, if I was about to go to China to see a customer and suddenly decide, well, I can do it over teleconferencing, I may not bother to travel so much in the future. I mean, could it cause a sort of permanent shift in behaviour?
Listen, I traveled here from Barcelona to meet you, right? We have to be here face to face, and there is value to that. We don't see it changing. It's a 1.6 trillion industry. We're talking about $1.6 trillion globally that is spent for business travel. This is not going to go anywhere. Having said that, things always happen in travel. You have the ash cloud a few years ago in Iceland, for example, and strikes in France always happen. So for that, we have a product called TravelPerk, allows business travelers to cancel for any reason and get a refund. So providers like TravelPerk have to come up with great solutions for this kind of annoyances that happen from time to time.
Now, why did you come up with the idea of disrupting the business travel market for your business? I mean, you've got a business qualification, you've worked in tech as well. You could have disrupted almost area. Why did you choose this one?
Now, this is actually, surprisingly maybe, the largest unsolved business, not just in travel. This is the unsolved, we talk about 1.6 trillion, as I mentioned, and companies have only two solutions: using a travel agent, which nobody wants, like back in the 80s, or using holiday websites that are not meant for business travel. And we at TravelPerk have breached that by providing great consumer experience for the travelers while giving CFOs and finance administrators the quality control and visibility they need into travel. So this breach is why we are doing business.
Why do you think it was, though, that business-to-business travel hadn't been disrupted in the way that, as you say, business-to-consumer has been?
I think maybe businesses sometimes are a bit slower to adopt modern technologies, right? So it took 15 years between what happened in leisure travel and what we're seeing now in business travel all around the world.
Is that because customers are travelling on their company's dollar, so they're probably not as mindful as they would be if they're travelling on their own dollar?
You'd be surprised. People are actually very conscious about the spend. And if you bring the kind of tools, the technology and visibility that they're looking for, they're very conscious about how they spend.
And what about some of the other trends that we're seeing? I mean, there's, particularly among millennial consumers, there's this trend of flight shaming. Do you think that is going to eat into business travel longer term?
Yeah, so I think we have to look at the short term and the long term. In the long term, of course, everybody would love to have solar planes and better, less polluting ways of commuting. Having said that, in the short term, we have to bring up better solutions as an industry. For example, at TravelPerk, we have partnered with Trainline here in the UK, and 20% of what we sell, 20% of the bookings are rail bookings that pollute less and emit less CO2. So we have, as an industry, a responsibility to come up with better short-term solutions. And TravelPerk, actually, we're about to announce something in the coming months that will hopefully make a dent in this industry in terms of how we look at carbon emissions.
And what about use of hotels? I mean, obviously, the big phenomenon over the last 15 to 20 years has been the rise of low-cost budget hotels. Do you see more businesses using those kind of facilities in future? Is that going to chip away at the sort of 4-5-star market?
For sure, and you definitely see not just hotels, you see alternative accommodation like Airbnb growing within the business travel industry, which is why our approach has always been, let's offer the widest variety of inventory for our travelers. You want to book a 5-star or 3-star or maybe an apartment through Airbnb, we need to be able to offer that and give the choice to the travelers to choose the right solution for them for that trip.
So you're interfacing with Airbnb as well then?
We are.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Afraid we've got to leave it there. Good to see you. Thanks for coming.
Cheers.
And that's it from me. You've been watching In King Live. It's video content and analysis on the business pages of the Sky News website. Well, I'm back this time tomorrow. I hope very much to see you then. Coming up next, it's the Sarah J. Me Show.